Hi there. It's August 1st, and it's once again time to talk real estate market stats. So, I've run the numbers for July. I want to update you on how things are looking. And at the end of this video, I am going to share the three P's of buying and selling in this current market. So I've got some tips for you to position yourselves in the best manner, whether you're buying or selling, and the things to be thinking about. So stay tuned to the end and I'll share those tips. But first, let's talk about the market. And I want to start with the Federal Reserve met yesterday, and there was hope that they would reduce the federal funding rate, which they did not. They held it steady. Interestingly, there were two members of the Fed that voted to reduce rates. The rest of them were in agreement to hold the rate, and so that's what happened. Right now, I think we're all just kind of watching things very closely because we're still not sure how the tariffs are going to impact things. And of course, I think we're all feeling the impacts of the higher cost, which was expected to be passed on to us as the consumers, but the higher cost of goods due to the tariffs, and just continuing to watch and see how that affects our overall economy. But right now, the general theme is that the economy is pretty stalled, and I think that's kind of largely how people are feeling as well, just in a kind of mode of limbo. Let's see what's going to happen. We are halfway through the year, so now we're looking at how's the year going to end, what's the second half of the year look like. As far as our local real estate stats, it's a very similar theme. Things stayed very steady in July. Inventory overall is down slightly. Buying activity is up slightly. Everything is mild. All the changes are very mild. So across most of our price categories, the inventory has dropped. And the things that stand out are days on market continue to tick upward. It is not a big jump, but we are seeing the homes still sitting a little bit longer. Really hopeful that we start to see that shift where days on market starts to come down. We've definitely felt an uptick in buying, and so there's been more activity in the last month, but not enough to make significant differences as far as these numbers go. The other thing that is interesting is our expired listings are up. And you've heard me say it before, this means that either it's price, condition, or combination of the two. And in this particular market, I would say the price is the leading factor when homes are expiring off the market. So we just have to be very mindful of these things as we're navigating this real estate market that we're in. Now, I did look back. I was curious to see how year over year we were looking, and that it was not a big change. Of course, year over year, we had this time last year over 1,500 homes on the market. We're under 1,500 homes on the market, so our active listings are down. Sales are up. I'm sorry, sales are down. So last year, the sales volume for July 31st was 2,665 homes sold. And this year, we're at 2,136. And then the rest of it is pretty similar. Our average price, our median price right in the middle is down from last year. So we were at 279.9 last year and we're at 269.9. Median selling price 274, we're at 260. Now that number is pretty significant because that number tells us how much negotiations have been happening. The list to sales ratio right now is 96%. It was almost 98% last year. So there's where you can see a significant change in the market that we have currently versus this time 12 months ago. But as far as expired listings, very similar. Days on market, not terribly different. 2 months last year, and we're at 75 days on market average right now for the entire county. So just, kind of interesting to look year over year as well. And then I went back to 2020 because I was curious to see how those numbers related. And we remember 2020 was a crazy time with COVID. 667 active homes this time 5 years ago during COVID. So that's how depressed our sales market was as far as the number of homes available for buyers. But we had 2,887 homes that sold in the last 6 months compared to our 2,000 homes currently. And if you think about the dynamic between active listings and the volume of sales, that's huge. The other thing that really interesting is in 2020, our median price was 200,000 and our median selling price was 186,874, so 190,000. And that represented 93% list to sales ratio. So 70 days on the market, not very different. And then similar expired listings even in 2020. So it's kind of fun to look at how things have progressed year over year and 5 year period. So I wanted to share that with you because I think what we can be taking away from that is we are in a more normal market. It doesn't feel still normal just based on the kind of craziness we had for a good while coming out of COVID, but it is normal. And interest rates, while they're high, they're also pretty normal for what expectation kind of makes sense as far as long-term rates for buying a home. And we are still watching to see those rates come down. I still think that will happen as the Fed tries to control inflation and spur the economy on as needed. It's just a timing thing. So we'll keep watching for that. But what can you do if you are in this real estate market right now? That's what I want to share with you. And I think that there's three things that I'm going to encourage you to be mindful of and be thinking about. And those are I'm going to call them the 3 P's. The first one is preparation. Be prepared. What I mean by that is twofold. One is you want to be watching the market. You want to have a trusted expert helping you to understand how the market is cycling, where we're at, and when it's time to do whatever you're doing, whether you're buying or selling. So being prepared that when your realtor comes to you and says, hey, now seems to be a great time. Look, interest rates just came down. There's some good options, good active listings to choose from if you're buying. And the same can be said for if you're selling, right? Now seems to be a prime time because of these factors that are taking place. You want to be ready so that you can jump because this market is very dynamic. While July stayed, I'll call it stagnant, it didn't change a whole lot. Things are changing rapidly. This increase in sales that we had in the last month, you just couldn't have known that was going to happen. You had to be ready to say, okay, great, market's picked up. Let me come on the market if I'm ready to sell my house. Or, I'm going to stay on the market and be ready for that market when it happens. And then from the buy side, of course, just knowing, hey, it's getting a little more competitive out there, so I need to structure my offer accordingly and so on and so forth. So that's number one, being prepared. The next one for the 3 Ps is presentation. So whether it be how you're presenting your home for sale, which is paramount in this market, you need to bring that home to market in the absolute best light possible. So, every little thing you can do. And I will say, though, I never promote spending money unnecessarily to prepare the home. So what I mean by that is I'm not going to tell you to upgrade your house for the sale unless I feel confidently that $1 spent will bring you $3 back in return. So those are the types of upgrades I'll talk about. But things like the curb appeal, the cleanliness, windows get overlooked all the time. Windows aren't getting washed a lot of times. A lot of us, we don't even open our blinds that often to see that our windows are dirty. So, dust on fan blades in the bedrooms and in the living room and so on. Just making sure that when people walk into that house, they feel good. There's a lot of psychological that comes into buying a home and falling in love with a home. So staging the home appropriately. I have an expert stager that I can bring in that can help us make sure that everything is just put in the right places, and those little things that just bring a spark to a house, that you can do, that someone with that talent in being able to advise on staging can help us with. So presentation for the sale of a home is absolutely critical. And then of course, making sure you have professional photography, really good reflection of that hard work you did in the presentation that you did. And then presentation if you're a buyer. So what that means is you're presenting yourself well to the seller. That means a complete offer package, including your pre-approval or your proof of funds, maybe some background on, why this is a great house for you, if you'd like to share some of that information. Making an offer that is attractive in the current market. So knowing, hey, list to sales ratio is this percentage right now, and so the seller's probably looking to get somewhere in that range. Knowing if there's been competition on the house, so you're prepared. So just presenting yourself as if you are a high quality, ready to act buyer, because you are, and you want the seller to look at you in that light when they're reviewing your offer. So the last one is going to be price. We are always talking about pricing the home correctly, but right now it is more important than ever. If you are overpriced, you will be chasing the market, and chasing the market means that you're going to end up at a lower price than what you would have if you had started at the right price. This is not a perfect science, so it is a challenge to know what that price is that you should hit the market. And that just goes back to watching the market, just being quick to take action if the price you came to market at is not being received well. But I will encourage that when you look at the competition that's out there and you look at your home, even if your home is the absolute best home out there, you still want to price it attractively. And in my mind, that's somewhere kind of middle ground, not at the top of the market, because those homes are sitting. And obviously, if you have a well put together, well upgraded home and all the nice things, you're not going to be at the bottom of the price range either. But somewhere in that sweet spot in the middle is going to be really good. We want the shortest time on market we can get. That's going to result in the best sale possible for you. So those are my 3 P's: preparation, presentation, and price. Be thinking about those things. It is going to serve you well in this market. If you'd like to talk about any kind of strategy with me or anyone on my team, we'd love to chat with you and just give you some thoughts as to what we're doing right now. We're doing some new things in this market. We've got to keep on ramping up our efforts. When the market is slower, it is not a time to pull back. It's a time to continue finding new ways of presenting the homes, new marketing efforts, spending more money, and just really deploying as much effort and strategy as possible. So give us a call if you'd like to chat, 352-794-1426. I'm Ruth Squires with RES Luxury Group of eXp Realty. And of course, at RES Luxury Group, we bring you white glove service and red carpet treatment, because your satisfaction is our guarantee. Have a great day.